Most speak of Gandalf with affection and awe, yet hidden in the tales lies a truth few dare to repeat. The ring terrified him more than any living soul. People remember him as a friend to the humble and a scourge to the servants of the dark, a wanderer with laughter in his beard and sparks dancing from his pipe. Yet those who truly knew him spoke of a shadow behind his eyes, the gaze of one who had seen how swiftly mercy can become mastery, and mastery, tyranny. Gandalf knew fear. He guarded it like a secret flame, for if it ever burst forth unbidden, it could consume far more than himself. The night it began was unnaturally still over the Shire. Bag End's windows glowed with warmth, but within, the air trembled with a fear too heavy for so small a home to bear. On the table lay a plain golden ring, catching the lamplight in a soft, innocent gleam. Bilbo Baggins stared at it as if it might leap upon him. "If you wish it," Bilbo whispered, voice unsteady, "take it. I am giving it to you." Gandalf did not reach for it. The shadows around him deepened, and his familiar warmth fell away like a mask. He alone among the wise understood the making of the rings, the snares woven into their beauty. But the one was unlike the rest. It would not seduce him with frailty. It would crown his virtues and twist them into chains for all the world. He had looked then upon a future that would never be written, and it frightened him, as the sea frightens those who love the shore, and hear in its roar both home and drowning. Gandalf did not fear Sauron's malice. He knew it, measured it, and opposed it with all that was steadfast. He feared instead the wound that could be made by a hand that meant to heal, the ruin wrought by mercy sharpened into law, the winter born from a desire for spring. He saw that if he took the ring, it would not bend him by weakness, but by the very strengths that made him good. The hush in Bag End held. The lamp sighed. Somewhere beyond the hill, a night bird called and fell silent. And so begins the untold truth of the day. The gray pilgrim saw a dark future, himself as the Dark Lord, and turned from it. He did not speak of it to the hobbit, who watched him with wide and troubled eyes. He kept his gaze on the small, smooth thing, and in its pale gleam he felt the long weight of ages, like snow upon an ancient bough. "No," he whispered again, and the syllable was a white stone placed in the mouth of a running stream, deflecting its course. For in a single beating of the heart, he had seen what would follow should he take it. He saw the Shire quieted, oh so quiet, its lanes raked, its hedges square and well tended, its songs softened to proper measure by edict. He saw inns close early that good folk might be safe, and travelers turned from the borders unless their business was right and certified by seals. He saw the mills hum without smoke and the fields grow without weed, and he heard a voice, his own voice, the kindly voice that told tales to children, speaking laws in a tone that brooked no reply. Mercy sharpened into law. He saw Minas Tirith crowned in light, but a light like noon without sunset, where the shadows were driven not by the sun's turning, but by decree. Bells rang at appointed hours. The steward's chair, wreathed now in white, waited not for debate, but for proclamation. Every banner was clean, every street was clean, and on every threshold a quiet fear. The fear of doing wrong, even when the heart meant right. The enemy's eye would no longer search from afar. It would be set upon a brow that sought to protect, and in seeking, possessed. He saw Dol Guldur thrown down so thoroughly, even the memory of its stones was banished from maps. He saw orcs slain to the last, and wolves tamed for the fields. He saw the dead marshes drained and planted with lilies. He saw a white road drawn through the Emyn Muil like a sword cut that would never heal. Peace, he would say, order, and many would bow with tears of relief, for no thunder would trouble their sleep, and no sudden blow would fall in the night. yet it would be a peace like frost upon the leaf, perfect, brittle, and lifeless beneath the sheen. And deeper than all, below reason and pity, he felt the ring's first lesson coiling like smoke. Not take and rule, as it whispered to lesser wills, but take and mend. It plucked the strings of his compassion, and every tremor sang of a world set right by a gentle yet unyielding hand. There, in the lamplight of Bag End, he knew the most perilous path was not the black road of hatred, but the bright road of remedy. The fire settled, a coal cracked. He closed his eyes, and with a long breath that felt like the first wind across a winter sea, he set the future aside. But a question remained, sharp as a hidden barb. If such a future was possible, could even refusal prevent the echo of it? If he turned his face, would the shadow of that face still fall upon the path? Beyond the hill, dawn considered the rim of the world, and did not yet rise. Long had Gandalf walked in Middle-earth, and longer still had he dwelt before the making of the sun, when he was called Olorin, and learned pity in gardens where the dew lay like stars upon the grass. He knew the weight of sorrow and the solace of small joys. He understood the language of leaves and the speech of hearth smoke as it curled and remembered. When at last the Valar sent him across the sea, they did not give him a scepter or a sword, but a charge that was both lighter and heavier, to kindle courage where it burned low, to counsel without compulsion, to lead without binding. Power he could have worn as easily as a cloak, but he chose to come as an old man with a staff and a quick laugh, and to hide the fire in his words, not flash it in his hands. So it had been at the White Council, where he spoke against the necromancer patiently, pressing truth like embers into minds grown gray with caution. So it had been in the wild with Thorin's company, where he set small chances in motion like pebbles loosed from a high place, and let gravity perform the rest. He did not rule, he stirred. He did not command, he encouraged. In this lay his strength and his peril. For the ring is a crooked mirror. It brightens what it can bend. Where hearts are cold, it offers flame. Where hearts burn for others, it offers a torch that never goes out and never warms. When it had sat upon the hand of Sauron, its purpose was clear as iron, to subdue. But the ring's malice was not blunt. It learned the shapes of the wills that might wield it, and dressed itself accordingly. For a warrior, it promised victory. For a scholar, knowledge. For a lover of peace, untroubled days. For a healer of hurts, a world without wounds. Thus it was that the ring's peril to Gandalf lay not in the promise of dominion, which he had refused 1,000 times in 1,000 small ways, but in the promise of remedy. He would not say, mine, but he might be brought to say, let me help, and in that phrase the whole trap was hidden. There were others who saw this shadow from another angle. Saruman the White, who once studied voice and stone, had put on wisdom like a tower, and found at last that towers are lonely. He told himself that order was compassion by swifter means. He told himself that bending the crooked was kinder than letting it grow. He told himself that mercy could be systematized. His downfall was not that he loved the world too little, but that he loved the shape he would give it too much. Galadriel, beneath the gold of Lorien, had felt the ring's weight at a distance and laughed, a sound like silver through leaves, when she foresaw herself tall and terrible and beautiful beyond endurance. She declined, and in the declining, found herself again. Yet even she confessed that refusal was not a single act, but a watch kept through long years, a standing beside a gate that must not be opened though one holds its key. So Gandalf held his watch in Bag End, knowing that he was set in Middle-earth lest fire be answered by fire. He would light only such a flame as men could carry for themselves. Outside, the wind lifted, and clouds like torn wool crossed the stars. To say no was not the end.
It was the beginning of a narrower road. And on that road lay a complication more perilous than any host, the goodness in him that the ring would teach to command.
He left the Shire with a heart that would not be still, and the miles under his feet carried both hope and a quiet dread. Each tavern hearth where he sat, each gate he knocked upon, each council room where his staff rested like a third ear upon the floor, he heard it, a breath of yearning in the folk he loved. "Keep us safe," said their eyes, "keep what we cherish unbroken." He did not despise this plea, he carried it like a lantern. Yet the ring's lesson moved beside him, step for step, whispering that safety, if made perfect, must be made final. In Bree, rain drummed, and the sign of the prancing pony creaked like an old ship. He watched men draw close around their cups and speak of roads closed by fear. He thought, how quickly would they accept a straight road if I laid it down for them, white, guarded, without hazard? In Rivendell, the soft rush of the Bruinen told an older tale, and he held counsel beneath the carvings of forgotten summers. "I will not take it," he said at last, though no one had asked that he should. He spoke as if to lay a stone upon a grave. Elrond's brow softened, and in the silence that followed, there was a stillness like a pause between waves, as if the valley itself had ceased to breathe for a moment to ease some ancient ache. Yet the road wound on, and care with it. When he hung upon the bridge of Khazad-dûm, fire beneath, stone before, and shadow towering, he felt not only wrath, but the sharp desire to end such threats forever. How simple, to cleanse, to purify, to bind the darkness with rings of will. He drove the demon down and fell, and in long darkness he thought of many things. He thought of snow on high places. He thought of song in quiet houses. He thought, too, of a plain where no enemy would dare to muster because hope had become law. He longed for that plain, and flung the longing from him as one flings a burning brand. There was a place of high stillness after his returning, a white hush where words seemed too heavy to be spoken. On the wind-swept heights he stood and let the world pass beneath, hawk, cloud, far waters, and in that silence the ring's voice became as thin as spider silk drawn across a gate. He could have broken it with one breath if it had been outside him, but it was within. So he walked down again among the fields of men, choosing the humbler road, and paid in anxious nights for every day that came. He went to kings and asked, never ordered. He went to captains and urged, never insisted. He went to the falling and offered a hand, but never a chain. And yet, as the shadow waxed, the temptation grew richer, not poorer, because the need grew louder. "We cannot afford patience," said the hour. "Take up what lies within your reach and let the world be set aright." Listen then, traveler in these old roads of tale. Here the story deepens and the path descends. For there are moments when hope itself can lead toward peril, as a bright star might draw a ship too near a reef. If you would go on, you must consent to follow the thread into dusk, where compassion and command wear the same face until the last light shows the difference. He came at last to the city of the kings, and found there a man who loved it unto death. Denethor's gaze was iron, his hands were clean. His despair was not a coward's. It was born of seeing too far and not far enough. "Rule," said that despair, "rule and spare them grief, or all is wasted." In that hall of white stone, a turning was prepared. And somewhere in the east, the earth shook as the Dark Lord tested the strength of his own chain. It was not upon a battlefield that the decision set like iron. It was in the hush between the last cry of a herald and the first footfall toward ruin, when the world seemed to sway upon a thread. The siege had begun. The air itself tasted of ash and iron.
Trumpets blew and faltered. The sky, heavy with smoke, felt like a lid pressed down upon a pan of boiling fear. Gandalf stood before the steward's door and heard within a father's grief, old, proud, raw, unmake itself into madness. He knew the law that would save the city, and the mercy that would save a single life, and the ring's voice, cool as night water, braided them into a rope. "Take it," breathed that reason, "not to reign, but to redeem. Take it, and speak a word no foe can gainsay. Bring order so gentle it feels like rain, so constant it feels like dawn. You will not be as he who burned without pity. You will be as one who governs the fire." He saw the gates of the Pelennor held by decree as strong as mountains. He saw the Black Captain broken not by a lady's courage and prophecy's mercy, but by statute. He saw the hosts of the West arrayed with a symmetry that left no space for song, for songs are unruly and do not keep measure with law. He saw the white tree pruned to the line. Frodo's face came to him then, not as a banner of hope, not as a symbol, but as a living face, pale with effort, set toward a road no one could walk for him. Something in that remembrance stilled the storm. For the ring had misjudged one thing. Gandalf's love was not for order, but for the choosing. He cherished the music because each voice entered of its own will. He cherished peace because it was earned, not imposed. He cherished goodness because it was lit within the heart, not poured upon it like plaster that hardens and cracks.
Thus, at the sharpest edge, where the voice of benevolence in him had nearly learned the flute song of command, he chose again, as he had in Bag End, to stand aside from mastery and stand beside the weak. He turned from the steward's madness to a boy on a cot, and from power to care. A hush, not empty, but full, filled the chamber, as if the city itself took a guarded breath and decided to continue. Yet the revelation did not end with his own refusal. In the black ash of the plain, where all seemed lost and the world narrowed to a creature's crawling and the weight of a small thing upon a chain, Gandalf learned at last the last truth of power, that even the change of the whole earth cannot be wielded like a tool without breaking the hand that grasps it. When the ring perished and the mountain spoke, the temptation did not melt with it. It transmuted into a knowledge that would bite if he ever forgot. He could see now, as one sees the line of a coast once the fog lifts, the kingdom he would have built if he had claimed it. Shining, orderly, righteous, and dead at the root. The eagles cried over smoke and ruin, and hope answered them with a single heartbeat in a single breast far below. That heartbeat, free, rang louder than any edict. And yet, even in victory, the cost lingered. He was not unmarked. To refuse is a wounding. To keep one's hand unclenched is a weariness. He felt age more keenly after, not for lack of strength, but for fullness of mercy. Mercy weighs upon the shoulders when it is carried long. The world tilted toward morning. The shadow drew back, not annihilated by greater force, but overthrown by smaller freedoms chosen again in the dark. And still the question that began in Bag End endured. How close had the door come to opening?
There are paths never trodden that yet leave traces, like a river that once ran and is now a green scar through the fields. In the memory of Middle-earth, one such path lies faint and perilous, a realm where Gandalf did not refuse, where kindness became ordinance and hope became a schedule. Few speak of it, for it is not in the Red Book, and it would be a poor teacher to those who love a clear tale. But the wise, when they keep watch in high places, sometimes look upon the rails of white frost on winter grass and remember how near winter came to staying. What legacy then from a future refused? This, that restraint is not emptiness, but a craft learned through long twilight. That pity is not weak, but a gate that will not let the lordship of good intentions pass without question. That the greatest victory of the Grey Pilgrim was not to cast down a foe with a rod of thunder, but to lay down a power he might have taken up, and thereby to shelter the fragile fire of many wills. In the houses of healing, where water murmurs in shallow bowls and the sick drift toward sleep, there is a moment each night when the lights are lowered and the keepers pause in the doorway, listening. In that pause is the world that was saved, a world where silence may fall and not be broken by command. Men build again, and their laws alter with their hearts. Kings return and remember the day they were not compelled but counseled. The Shire, left mostly to itself, grows pumpkins of such size as to make children laugh, and no proclamation measures the laughter. In Lorien, the leaves fall with a gentleness that asks nothing, and the wind answers with a sigh that is not a summons. The dwarves delve and plan, but no law marks the hour of song when the hammers rest. It comes when a master whites his brow and says, "That is enough for today," and another agrees of his own accord.
So Gandalf passed over sea at last, and some wept for the loss of a protector. Yet the truer name for what he had been was not warden, nor ruler, nor king under any sky, but friend. A friend counsels and does not coerce, kindles and does not consume. A friend stands at the road's edge and lifts a hand, and each traveler decides. In that simple, perilous courtesy, the free peoples remained free. The story of his temptation is not a finger raised in scolding, it is a lantern set beside a gate. Many will pass by and never notice the light. A few will pause and understand why it burns so quietly, and why its flame is never used to set the forest alight in the name of ending night. The seabirds cry over gray waves, the white tree flowers in spring. Somewhere in the Westfarthing a kettle hums, and a window is opened to let the steam out. And the steam goes where it will, and the room smells of tea and fresh bread, and nobody commands the smell to linger. It stays because it is welcome, and goes because it must. If you listen when the rain begins, you may hear the world deciding again, softly, to remain a place where songs are chosen and not assigned. That was his victory. That was the dark future turned away. The future in which everything was right and nothing was free. If you enjoyed uncovering this shadowed chapter of Middle-earth's lore, be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss the next tale. Tell us in the comments which hidden legends, lost powers, or forgotten beings you'd like us to explore next. And if you'd like to support the channel and help us dive even deeper into Tolkien's world, thank you for watching and for walking this road with us.